What's up, guys? Carolina Jackpot time. Checking in. It is Wednesday evening, and it is time for part one of week number 4. College football picks and predictions for the weekend of September 23rd, 2017. As you know, we've been picking 20 games a week against the spread to see how Carolina Jackpot fares against everyone else. Through 2 weeks of this, we have a record of 20-20. So 500 right now. Went 12-8 in week 2, and went actually 8-12 last week. Was not a good one. So looking to rebound this week. Hopefully, I've got some solid picks made. Did my homework as much as possible on these. So let's get cracking, and you all can see what I came up with, and I can kind of compare it to what you have going on, and just bounce ideas off each other. Feel free to comment in the comment section below. Gotten a lot of new subscribers to the channel. I do appreciate that. This channel is more than lottery tickets and goofing off. We also do some sports stuff on here, trying to get serious with it and continue to have a little bit of fun at the same time. All right, Thursday night, have one game there, of importance anyway. Temple is on the road at South Florida. Bulls are 19.5 point favorites over the Owls in cherry and white, and I am looking for the Bulls to cover the spread on this one. I don't believe that point margin differential there is big enough. South Florida kind of struggled the first 2 weeks of the season. This is actually their 4th game coming up. They were off 1 week there, or we may have had some hurricane difficulties. I can't remember. I can't keep them all straight there, but at any rate, last week I had Illinois at home on Friday night, and I actually predicted them to struggle, and for the Illini, who is not a very good football team, to cover the spread, and South Florida blew them out. So we're not going to pick against these guys again unless they give me reason to do so, and many people expect them to go undefeated this year. I'm one of those people. It may come down to some games. I think they have, I don't think they play Memphis in the regular season, who looks to be another strong team in that conference. I do think they play Navy, though. So that could be a test for them. But as it were, South Florida will cover the spread at home against Temple tomorrow night in Raymond James. Friday night, you got Utah on the road at Arizona. Arizona is 3.5 point underdog against the Utah Utes. This should be an interesting matchup. Arizona is 2-1. Their 2 victories came over pretty weak competition. They put up a lot of points against them. The only team they played that was really any good, Houston, they lost by 3 points in a game that they were favored in, but I did pick Houston to win the game, and that did in fact do so. Utah's got a strong running game, and I look for them to cover the spread at Arizona. Not sold on Arizona being really good. UMass, the Minutemen, always playing the Murderers Row schedule, on the road at Tennessee. And the Volunteers are 28-point favorites. I look for them to cover the spread. I really think they're going to come in pissed off after last Saturday's episode. They snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. It was almost, who could that Hail Mary at the end of that game was unreal. Them and Florida both had multiple chances to win that game, but Tennessee, man, they were in the red zone so many times, couldn't come away with points, missed field goals, had all kind of botched scoring opportunities. They played one weak team this year. Was Indiana State, and they beat them like 45-7. So, I don't think there's a lot of difference between UMass and Indiana State, honestly. So, coming in focused, fired up. I think the champions of life will take care of the spread against UMass, who has definitely got to be worn out. West Virginia on the road at Kansas. The Jayhawks are 22-point underdogs, and I'm going to pick West Virginia to cover the spread here. West Virginia's been playing good ball this year. Will Greer has really settled in and been a really good quarterback for West Virginia. Got them putting a lot of points on the board. And Kansas is a bad football team. It's probably one of the weakest Power 5 teams out there. They've lost home games to Central Michigan and Ohio, both from the MAC. And their one win was against one of those Midwestern FCS teams that escapes me. They're just not. I mean, you can't. I mean, you're in the Big 12. There's no way you should be losing to MAC competition two times in the same year. You're losing to MAC teams. That's not good. West Virginia covers the spread against the Jayhawks. UNLV is at Ohio State. Ohio State is 40.5-point favorites. Last week, I picked the Buckeyes not to cover the spread against Army. The spread was 30 points, and I picked the Black Knights to cover the spread in that game. I thought they'd keep it close, and I just barely missed that one. They, in fact, did keep it close up until about a few minutes into the third quarter, and then the depth, strength, speed, athleticism of Ohio State took over, and they really dominated the rest of that game. So they won that game at 31 points. I'm definitely convinced that Army is more than 9 points better than UNLV. UNLV is not good. They lost to Howard. Howard's a lower level FCS team at home. Ohio State's going to blow them totally out of the horseshoe on Saturday. Prayer sent to the Run Rebels for UNLV, because they don't stand a chance in this game, and they're not going to stay within 40 points in against Ohio State. Ain't going to happen. Texas A&M is in Arlington, Jerry World, against the Arkansas Razorbacks. This is kind of like you got two coaches on the hot seat battling it out here. You don't really hear a lot about Brett Bielema being on the hot seat with Arkansas, but excuse me, I can guarantee you that he is. I'm telling you, I think these people are tired of winning just 7 or 8 games a year. I think they want a little something more. They have been back in the mid to late 2000s, up to like 2010. Arkansas was like a 10-win team. When they had the Darren McFadden's and the Felix Joneses and all those guys and Matt Jones, man, they were tough. They were Ryan Mallett was another one but they're just not. They're kind of entrenched there in the lower portion of the SEC West. They got Texas A&M in Arlington, and I'm going to look for the Aggies to cover the spread in this particular game. There are 2.5-point favorites. I think they're going to do a little bit more than that. I'll say Texas A&M is going to win by like a touchdown. They looked pretty decent the second half of that game last week, albeit it was at home against UL Lafayette, which is not a Power 5 team. It's some of the they're from the Sun Belt Conference, I think. Obviously, Texas A&M should be able to handle them, but the struggles they've been having of recent, I mean, it was probably, a welcome sight for their fans to see them overpower that team. And I think they built some positive momentum. I think they're going to carry it on into this weekend's matchup with Arkansas. That Christian Kirk kid, got some production out of him. And their running back, kid's last name escapes me. But it looked pretty good in the second half, like I say, against the Raging Cajuns, and I think Kevin Sumlin's team pulls out about a touchdown victory against Arkansas. That should be a good game. Yeah, there's people out there saying, "Oh well, I'm not going to watch them play. What a crappy game, blah, blah, blah." They said the same thing about Tennessee and Florida last week. Yeah, I mean, the level of play on the field between those two teams, Tennessee and Florida, no, it was not Danny Werfel against Peyton Manning, okay? No, all right. It wasn't Rex Grossman and Heath Schuler out there. But, you know, I mean, it is what it is. It was still a competitive ball game. It went down to the wire, and it was exciting as hell. So, you can't have it all. NC State, Florida State, 13-point favorites. The Seminoles are at home. Now, I scratched this one out here, and I didn't mean to pick Florida State here. I just made a mistake there. I will look for NC State to cover the spread in this game. Reason being, I don't think they'll win. I think Florida State's still going to win the game. I think they have more talent than NC State, especially on offense. Has skill positions. However, they're going to be starting a brand new quarterback, replacing DeAndre Francois, who's out for the year. Possibly won't play football again. That doesn't bode well for him to be playing against that NC State defensive line his first game of the season. Florida State has problems protecting the quarterback, obviously. That's why Francois is not playing right now. His offensive line not protecting him. If anybody watched them play against Clemson last year, and it's a minor miracle that kid didn't get that injury last year against them. They absolutely hammered that poor guy. I mean, he was on his back more than he was standing upright in that game. But he kept popping back up. It was like a dang jack-in-the-box, man. Just kept popping back up. At any rate, playing against NC State, probably about the 4th or 5th best defensive line in the country, and having a weak offensive line is not going to bode well for Florida State in that game or their new quarterback. However, I do think that they will win this game, but it's going to be close, and it will definitely be closer than 13 points. And they could well lose this game. I'm not totally sold on that. NC State seemed to come around the past couple of weeks offensively, albeit their games have been against Furman and Marshall. I struggled a little bit in the first half against Marshall, but look for them to keep that game pretty close and competitive. Old Dominion, ODU, on the road in Lane Stadium, 27.5-point underdogs to the Hokies. Old Dominion is really playing some tough out-of-conference competition. They play in Conference USA, the East. They're playing some really tough teams this year. Virginia Tech, North Carolina, they played at home. Got another out-of-conference game, and I can't remember right offhand. It seemed like it was a pretty tough one, too, for them. 27.5-point underdogs, and I look for the Hokies to cover the spread. Old Dominion lost by 30 at home to North Carolina in a game that really wasn't even that close. And hands down, Virginia Tech is better than UNC offensively. And from what I've seen, they put 64 points up last week against East Carolina on the road. So look for the Hokies to dominate that game. They'll probably win by at least 40. Wake Forest at Appalachian State. The Mountaineers are 5-point underdogs at home. Once again, they are hosting a Power 5 team, as they did last year with the Hurricanes in Miami. And I think this year,